Welcome back to Boomer's Playground. Today we're going to be going over coding exercise 17 of the Colt Steele Web Developer Bootcamp on Udemy. So it looks like you guys just went over some string videos, and we're now going to be creating some variables with strings in them. So um, this is still really early for doing something like this, but I just want to show it because what you'll see a lot is you'll see pretty easy ones like this, and you'll see people don't really read the instructions completely. And this is obviously way too early to say, like, this is the reason you didn't get the job. But if I were to give you this as a take home exercise, and you were to come back and let's say you did, so if you're not sure, this will print out, you had me at hello, but it'll be single quotes instead of double. And I specifically asked for double quotes instead of the string. So I'd be like, hey, why did you do it that way? And why did you name it quote string? And they'll be like, oh, I thought it because I wanted to. And when in actuality, the description is pretty clear. So what I like to do is something called pseudo code. And all it is you taking, you just writing the instructions to satisfy this test, or the description or the task, just kind of in your own words. And so it's going to seem really stupid right now, but as you get into bigger projects, and as we get into some of the more complex exercises, you're going to see how it kind of helps breaks these things down. So what I would do is, and I usually do it, I comment it out, and I do, step one is create variable called best color. Two is add string of purple, not add, sorry. I'm trying to think of the right word. Define best color with string purple. And three, create variable called quote. And number four is define quote with string of you had me at hello. And so again, this probably seems really dumb for this example. And you're probably thinking, well, why didn't you just put number two and number one together, you know? But when you get into some of the more complex problems, breaking it down this small is really, really helpful because it's tough for you. You still will, but it's tough for you to get overwhelmed when you have these like really small little things to accomplish to complete the task. So this is a lot better than, this huge task. And again, this is a poor example, but I just wanted to share this right out of the gate so you guys are kind of familiar with it. So first one is pretty easy, so we'll do const, and actually we'll do it underneath this one so they match. So we'll do const best color, and then we need to set it to purple. And then again, if you guys remember from the previous one, the quiz, where we were checking the true thing, so a single quote or double quotes make something a string. Also string literal templates, which you guys haven't learned about yet, but you will in this section, and they are amazing, and we will go over them when we get to that section. So here we create a variable called quote, and then we set it equal to you had me at hello. So I want to point out that this be careful about quotation marks. We want double quotes inside the string. So let's say we were to do, now we can already tell that like, hey, something's weird because we have this, it's obviously the color is wrong. So let's check the solution, see what the error is, see if that helps us at all. And it really doesn't. Anytime you see an unexpected token, it's usually a syntax error, and this is a syntax error, but I don't expect you guys to really like understand why that this is a syntax error, but I will explain to you why this doesn't work. So in JavaScript, you're saying, all right, cool, double quote, this is the start of a string, and go till you find the ending quote is essentially what you're saying. So it's like, hey, cool, YOU space HAD space MEA, blah, blah, blah. Oh, cool. That's the ending double quote. Now, JavaScript doesn't know that you really wanted this last guy here to be the ending double quote. All it knows is the first one it finds, that's the ending quote. So now this string is over and this is just JavaScript, but it's nothing, right? And that's why we're getting that syntax error because this is not valid JavaScript. And then we come after this and we're like, okay, and then we're doing it again. Oh, here's an opening quote. So, hey, there's a string, and then it's the ending quote. So this is why this doesn't work, is all it looks for is the very first one of its kind. So what I like to do is I like to think, do I have a apostrophe or do I have a double quotes in this string? And if I do, I use the other one to wrap the entire string in. So here we know we want double quotes around hello. So we just want to wrap our string in a single quote because what happens now is it says, all right, cool. Starting the string. So you had me at, oh, this is just a string. So it doesn't equate that double quote as a JavaScript double quote. It's a string double quote. So just keep on going, and then bam, we find our only other single quote, which is now the end quote. And now we see that hello is going to get printed with the quotes around it. So another example, so example kind of the other way is like, let's say I was like, don't trust Facebook or something. So I know I'm going to have this in my string somewhere. So I don't want to use a single quote. I want to use double quotes, and I can say, don't trust Facebook or whoever. It doesn't, like, I don't really care who you don't trust. But the whole point is it's saying, okay, cool. Double quotes, we're starting a string, blah, da, da, da. Nah, that's not a JavaScript quote. That's just a regular one. More text, 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 text. And then bam, that's our ending quote. So now quote actually has that apostrophe in it. So once you get into string template literals, it gets a lot easier. It gets a lot more fun. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. But this is still something you should know as, just because there's new things out in JavaScript or new frameworks does not mean companies are using them. It is really expensive to go in and like imagine you have a huge code base. Imagine your American Express. And I use them as an example because they're not a tech company, right? So like you have an Amazon, they have so many developers that they can upgrade stuff and it's not as big of a cost. But like American Express, they have a dev team and they have a decent sized dev team. But guess what? If you did the site before string template literals were around, it would cost you so much money to go and change all of those that it's just not worth it to do it at one time. So it's still good to know, I don't want to say old, but to know the way that things used to get done in case you run across them. And that's the same with like frameworks and stuff, right? Everybody's like, oh man, I saw Svelte, this new framework, it's the new hottest thing. Well, guess what? It would cost a company, the better part of a year to take a React or Vue project and completely switch it to Svelte. So that's why you'll see technology doesn't creep into every company right away. It does take a long time. So, but yeah, like anymore, you won't use this stuff, but it's still good to know. So I made a mistake, and as I was rewatching and editing the video, I realized I didn't show the alternate way that you could have done this test, and I should have. So this one worked, and that's awesome. But what we can do is we can also do just like old school string concatenation. And I don't remember if he talks about it or not, but you will see this in the wild. So I do want to show this for you. So we'll leave line 6 here because that did pass, and this is probably, I don't know if I want to say the easiest, but this is probably one of the better solutions. But what you'll see a lot, and I don't know, I see this more when somebody coming from another language is writing some JavaScript. And so I think it's just, this may be the first thing that pops up, or this may be how most other languages handle concatenation. So I do want you guys to see it because it is out there. So what you can do is you can do you had me at, and then you can do these little plus signs. And so this is called concatenation. And so you can think of it like the math addition operator, but what we're doing is we're adding strings together. So a string doesn't have like a true number value, you know, like deep down in binary and all that stuff it does. But like for our example here, you can't add this to this because it's not a numerical value. So what you end up doing is you end up concatenating it. And so what we can do here is we've now done the exact same thing, and we have this part of the string, and then we're saying plus, and then we have this. And so this actually looks like really stupid because you're like, well, why would you add those two things together? But what'll happen is like sometimes you'll have a variable in there that you want to bring in. So um, this I might be getting a little out of hand here, but let's say we had a variable that was hello, or let's say I'm saying, and we'll do that. So it's our hello with double quotes. And then what you would see is you would do and then you do the saying. So now the saying is, it means this, so this should pass unless the testing suite can't handle it. Okay, so I just wanted you guys to see that there's, you know, there's another way to do this. Again, I see it enough in code and in open source projects and in, you know, like NPM packages that I wanted to bring it up. But I personally, I don't use this. I use string template literals, which you'll learn about in one of the next videos. But I just wanted you guys to see this is still another way to do it. So yeah, I don't feel like I should say it again, but you know, if you guys learned something, have any questions, put them in the comment section below. Otherwise, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next exercise.